Hilliard.
Here.
Leach.
Here.
Menold.
Here.
Newman. Parrott.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Join me in pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's no public hearings, no presentations or special reports, public comment. Consent agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes, the regular meeting, May 15th, 2023, and the approval of the bills. If we could have a motion.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Parrott.
Yes.
Menold.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I have a couple of things tonight, just so, you know how Morton citizens all get involved, but so do our police. First, we had Shadow, our K-9, retire here about a week ago, I think after about 9 years service. And so they had quite a few people were here, and he had a demonstration. So we'll be getting a new K-9 one of these days here. But also, the police have been involved with cop on a rooftop. I don't know if you've seen that at Dunkin' Donuts with the big donut. The police raised some money for the Special Olympics. And also, the police had a bike rodeo at Jefferson, across from Jefferson School at Church Square. So our officers have definitely been involved in the community. And today I happened to go by the sewer treatment plant, and we had CERT there. And I had to tell them who I was. There's several policemen all geared up. So I'm going to ask the deputy police chief to inform the public what was going on there today.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. So what you saw today was the Central Illinois Emergency Response Team, which is a team of officers from the Central Illinois area that's comprised of Woodford, Tazewell, and Peoria County. It's 31 members strong, I believe. Currently, there are 2 Morton police officers that are assigned to that. They train on Mondays, monthly, and they also are members of what's called ILEAS, also, which also trains on Mondays. That's about a 40-member group of individuals. That stands for the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System, and both of those teams serve special purposes in the community. CERT can be activated by any department in the Tri-County area. There is a matrix where they score out whether or not a response is appropriate based on certain circumstances, but they're involved in things like active shooter, barricaded subjects, crowd control, civil unrest, things like that. ILEAS, that is a statewide thing, where the other, like I said, is more just the Tri-County. That can be activated for a number of things too, security after natural disasters, diplomatic protection, civil unrest, crowd control, things of that nature. So we're pretty fortunate that we have that in the area, and we at one time had 3 officers that were members of CERT and ILEAS. Now we only have 2, but like I said, that provides the citizens with another safeguard for all of the things that I mentioned, because that can be activated, and they generally respond from the Peoria County Sheriff's Department when they are activated, and it's very high level training, and we feel that if we had a situation arise in town, that's valuable to have that resource available to us. But it also provides some training for other Morton officers, because we do have those highly trained officers that then bring that training back in-house. So it's a mutual benefit, I think, to everybody involved, and we hope to continue that relationship. So they do train in town frequently. They use our range, and then the abandoned nursing home here in town, they also do some training there from time to time. Generally, when they are training in buildings and such, you'll see signs that are set up that'll say police training being conducted. That way it doesn't alarm people when they're doing that. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was quite an impressive group. I left a couple pictures on each table so you could see what they're doing. I think they mentioned they were going to take down a car or something. They were going to do something with the car.
Like probably doing a vehicle extraction, where people may go mobile in a car, and then they try to barricade themselves in the vehicle, and they have special methods and tactics they use to try to extract them from vehicles.
So, and they bragged about our facility. They really like the shooting range and everything, so it does pay to have nice facilities. They train right here in Morton, so I just want to make the citizens aware, and thank you.
Yep.
Let's see, Chief, Village Clerk,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village Administrator.
I have one item tonight, Your Honor. The Building, or Business District Commission met and approved a grant recommendation for a building improvement grant for Amy Jones, who's the owner of 104 West Jefferson. She plans to remove the paint from the brick, repair the brick, seal it, and return it to its original facade. If you're not familiar with what this is where the main entrance is into Homestead along Jefferson there, right before you get to the parking lot. She said that she's got the history of that building. It goes back to when it was a saloon back in the early 1900s. So she wants to remove the paint and return it to its original facade. So.
Could we have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Leach,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
motion carries.
Chief of Police, do you have anything else?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay. Corporation Counsel.
A couple items tonight, Your Honor. The first is Resolution 03-24, which is a resolution making amendments to Resolution 02-24 to reduce the tract to be conveyed to Mark and Brook Roth by 63/100ths of an acre more or less.
Are we voting on both these at the same time? Or separate?
Since they're separate and one's resolution, one's the ordinance, we should vote on them separately.
Okay. So we'll vote on the resolution first, if we could have a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any questions?
Brief explanation, Your Honor. The village is intending to sell to Mark and Brook Roth approximately a 28-acre tract of the farmland purchased from the Rassy family. And working towards a closing on the Hodel exchange, an objection was raised by Hodel about an easement which ran through the Hodel ground. Different solutions were negotiated. Ultimately, it was arrived at that Hodel would be receiving an extra 0.63 acres, and in exchange, would be subtracted from the Roths, and Hodel would waive objection to the easement. So this is the first half of that. The ordinance, which will be next, is the second half of that change. We're subtracting it from Roth. We'll add it to Hodel.
Okay. Any questions? Call the roll.
Blunier,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
motion carries.
The next item, Your Honor, is ordinance number 24-10, which is an ordinance making amendments to ordinance 24-07 to add an additional 63/100ths of an acre parcel, more or less, to be conveyed to the Hodel Trust as a part of the previously authorized exchange.
Any motion, please?
So moved.
Got a second there?
Second.
Any questions? Anyone?
It's the same explanation as prior action.
All right. Call the roll.
Parrot,
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
motion carries.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Director of Fire and Emergency Services.
Thank you, Your Honor. This evening, I'm seeking approval to purchase or go out to bid, for a new ambulance. This is an ambulance that was budgeted in this current fiscal year. It'll replace a 2008 model ambulance, and it's worth noting that currently we believe that that build will be about 2 years out. From the time we place the order, it'll be about 2 years before we can take delivery on that. So that's why we're trying to get ahead of the game as much as possible here.
So does anybody have any objection to going out for bids?
How many ambulances do we currently have?
3.
And the other 2 are fairly new.
Yes, we try to, our goal is to get 15 years, which equates to about 250,000 miles on them. So we're right there with, in the area with the 08. So, and then they're kind of spread out about every 5 years otherwise.
But this is the oldest one.
This is the oldest one.
Anybody have any objection?
And we're very hopeful that it lasts for 2 years, so.
So, all right, once you plan on going out for bids. We don't need a motion for that, do we?
You do not.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
That's it, sir.
All right. Director of Public Works.
Yeah, 2 items tonight, Your Honor. First is item A. I'd like to ask for approval to waive formal bidding and acceptance of proposal from Lighthouse GMC for a new 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 double cab four-wheel drive truck for Planning Zoning Department in the amount of $42,027. The intent with this is to scrap existing number 32, which is the one Roger drove. It was deemed not drivable due to the rusted out frame and a host of other issues.
So if we could have a motion.
I move to approve. Second.
So we did not budget that, so that would be something that we'd like to add to the appropriations. The intent was to drive the other one another year.
Do anybody have any questions? If not, call the roll.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the next one is item B. This is also a truck that was budgeted. I'd like to ask for approval to waive formal bidding and acceptance of proposal from Lighthouse GMC for a new 2023 Sierra 1500 double cab four-wheel drive truck for the wastewater department in the amount of $41,827. And as a result of this, we would sell existing truck 61, which was a 2012 Chevy Silverado. Sell that on Gov Deals pending approval.
Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Mennel,
Yes.
Leach,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Okay, I would make a note of it. I think Lighthouse treated Morton very well. I think it might come up to about a 15% discount off the asking price. In this day and time, that's a pretty good price for vehicles. So, thanks to our local dealer. Zoning and code enforcement.
I have nothing tonight, Your Honor.
All right, does any trustees have anything tonight?
I have a question for Craig. On the electric aggregation that has been talked about throughout the community, I just wondered if verbally you could put it in layman's terms, or it seems like there's some confusion. Several people have reached out to me about it.
Yeah, so today's the day, I believe, you start receiving the opt-out letters in the mail. So this is done because they need 60 days prior to, I believe it's the start of the contract, to notify citizens that they can opt out. So again, in general, we participate with approximately 40 other communities. I know Pat represents several of those communities, so I work very close with Pat on this. So that's why we could basically contract on the aggregation, electric aggregation. We're with 40 other communities to basically solicit what we feel's, the best price with the group and the best term. Unfortunately, with the volatility of the market, sometimes that's not the case, on, pinpoint days and months. We may not have that, but what we have is, through December of 25, we have secured a rate of 9.84 cents plus the capacity adder. So we separated that from the last time because we kind of got burned on the capacity, which increased exponentially. So that capacity adder this time was 0.106, I believe, which would take the new rate to 9.95 cents per kilowatt hour. That'd be for the first year, from July meter read of this year to July of 24 meter read. And then they would do the auction again, and we are under contract through 25. But I will highlight that it's free to opt out at any time. Anytime you want to opt out. So I don't know, even when people call when there's close with rates. So Ameren hasn't posted their rate yet, but there's a potential that they're low. I think Pat and I, based on some information we received, Ameren may be a little lower by maybe a penny kilowatt hour. So people need to decide on their own if they want to opt out. We are insured and protected with our rate, so with volatility of market, we know Ameren's going to pass those costs on to others, and theirs really isn't locked in for an entire year. So there's a chance of that. With opting out, though, the biggest caution that I would tell people is you have 60 days once you opt out, okay, to get with a new supplier. So they'll be out probably in full force. So communicate, especially with elderly and other people, to explain to them is see what those marketers are going to give you in terms of term and price. But they'll be out in full force. If you don't select something in those 60 days, you will go back to Ameren just like we did, and you're with them for an additional 10 months or a year total. Okay, so you can opt back in later, but you're probably going to be out a full year before you can opt back into the program. So I think that's the biggest thing I would say is, if you opt out, you'll go back to Ameren, and if you have another supplier, you got 60 days to get with them. Otherwise, you go back to Ameren for the next 10 months. Or you keep the 9.95 cents and you do nothing. Throw it away, stay on it, probably with a majority of Mortonites. But this isn't to say in this market, with it being volatile, I don't think I think we got some information. I don't think it's our role as municipal leaders, you guys and us, to advise the general public on what to do or what not, just because the market is volatile. So it could change tomorrow. So be cautious of what we tell people, but at the same time, I think we should protect people too. When the prices are that close, there will be people in town. They will sign up with the police department and probably be going door to door, stuff like that. So there's a chance you can better your price. Just do your homework. But if you want to stick with us, it'll still be somewhat competitive, I believe, in the term of it. But do nothing if you want to stay.
I do want to add on that, if they do come knocking at their door, do not show them your Ameren bill.
Yeah.
My mother did that. Unbeknownst to her, she got signed up with another company, and the first 6 months was great, and after that, we're looking at 9 cents. She was paying 21 cents a kilowatt. So if somebody knocks at your door, do not open, you can open the door, but when you talk to them, they will ask to see your Ameren bill. That's because they're trying to get your Ameren account number, and they will automatically enroll you sometimes when they're not the best of people. So do not show them your Ameren bill. You can tell them what's on it, but don't show it to them.
I had that last week. It was solar panels, but I just got my mail. The guy walked up and gave me. He said, "You got your SoCo bill?" I said, "Yeah, I got the mail right now." And he said, "Let me see it." I go, "Yeah."
No.
But that was solar. But anyway, I believe so. Every year we have this opportunity, right? I mean, or sometime in the past I remember going through this not too long ago.
So they give you the card now. That's the initial opt-out, which I think confuses people. You can opt out at any time you want. Any day, any minute, call and opt out.
So if I do nothing,
You'll pay 9.95 cents for the first year through July of 24, and then you'll pay 9.84 cents plus the adder, which goes to auction the next 2 years. They have switched up the capacity charges to where they're done. I believe it's seasonal, Pat, but for the following year. It's a little, just to try to protect it a little more on that annual auction they have. But yeah, if you do nothing, I think you'll be just fine, but it's your right as a citizen. You might be able to save money if you find something. There might be somebody out there. Now, I know I talked to Pat on solar. If you have solar in your house, just be cautious. I had 2 employees that I did notify them. So sometimes you get credits and you need to opt out with solar. I think it's fair to say that, Pat.
It's my understanding that if you have solar and you have credits on your Ameren account and you switch suppliers, your credits will be wiped out. So you will lose those credits on switching suppliers.
So I've had several questions today, and employees have got back to me that had solar that I thought, well, I'll learn a little bit from them, but also let them know. And they said that was the case. They called and said, no, you opt out if you have solar and you got credits. So there's little things in there just to, if anyone has any questions, there's certain things we can answer, but we'll get you to the right people. But yeah, most people will do nothing and they'll be just fine.
So I just want to make sure I understand though. Doing nothing, we have a guaranteed rate for 1 year, and then the next 2 years, what is going to be bid? Is it going to be the electric rate or the add-on?
Just the capacity auction through MISO, and then I'm not sure how that's determined. But
No, but I mean, that's
yeah.
that's the thing that would change in years 2 and 3.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
so I'm going to ask one.
Yep.
So I can opt out of this and just go with Ameren.
You could do that.
And I wouldn't have to select Ameren. I'd just opt out of this and do nothing, and I'd be on Ameren.
You'll be on Ameren.
Or I'd need to select some other XYZ company.
Exactly. So what you'll see, that's a good question, what you'll see on your bill under supply in the middle, and I would encourage everyone to check that because some people get missed too. It would say Ameren in that case, but for people that don't opt out and they do nothing, it'll say Energy Harbor. So it's not previous home field, we've got an agreement with Energy Harbor. So it should say Energy Harbor on your bill, and it should say 9.95 cents. So you'd stay with Ameren, 60 days past, then you're for sure with them for an entire year. But with that, I believe their rates that will come out in July will be a penny less. So instead of 9.95, you might be in the 8.95 range, unfortunately. But that's the volatility of the market. We agreed to ours in 23. I believe the people that we're working with, and I feel comfort in ours that it's so volatile. I'm not sure why that dropped so much, but I don't think it's going any lower than that. Would you agree to that, Pat? I mean,
Yeah, Ameren's prices, their rate to compare changes on a monthly basis. From what I've read, Ameren's pricing is based on their power purchasing, so they pass through the cost of the energy they purchase. So their price is based on their power purchases. So if it dropped, it's because of potentially they bought at lower price points. But the primary difference between the alternative supply option and the Ameren option is the Ameren option is subject to change. The alternative supply price is not. You're trading the certainty for 29 months versus the volatility, good, bad, or otherwise, with the Ameren price.
and they intend to make money. So, I mean, I love working with Ameren, but they will pass on those costs. So all those little things in the market, obviously we had a really hot May. If they're really hot, demand, goes up, obviously those prices are going to go up. So in the long haul, what's a penny for a normal household? I ran a calc on somebody's today. I can't remember. It was they were averaging 600 kilowatts per month, and that was about $96 is what they would have saved if you're for a penny. Would be $100 on that for the year. So there's a chance at some savings, but what we provide is through this aggregation program is obviously the insurance and protection of a fixed rate, so people can budget and plan and do that and not have to deal with the volatility of everything.
I was just trying to remember and I was pretty sure that I opted out and went with Ameren the last time. I mean, just me deciding to do that, but now I'm going to go back and look and see if that's how I really did it.
Sure. And the other questions come up, and Pat, maybe you could add to this. There's one on Facebook on a gentleman that I know, and he asked, well, what happens if I'm with somebody else right now, and I'm with them, and I come out? I'm like, well, if you're under a term with them, I believe you would not. I mean, obviously you can't get out of that, but if you're on a month-to-month, you're most likely going to get thrown into ours, correct? Or maybe not.
If you are in an existing unexpired contract, it would be my expectation that you would stay with that contract and would not switch. Many of those other alternative suppliers have auto-renewing contracts for longer than a month-to-month term. I have not seen many month-to-month ones, so I can't speak for sure to that without looking into it further, but I would say most of those people will be on contracts with a fixed expiration date and likely an auto-renew at that point, and those people won't switch over unless their auto-renew or their current contract ends and doesn't renew before our pickup date.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Any other trustees? If not, if we could have a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.